test. Is great. The board took the following action during the closed session meeting. The board approved the selection of Katie Benedum as assistant principal, elementary school principal, assigned to Richmond beginning on October 20th. The vote was unanimous. No other action was taken in closed session meeting. We did not finish our closed session meeting. We'll be going back into closed session at the end of our regular scheduled meeting. Before we get started on the regular meeting, I would like to thank the Gateway Gators out there for being our welcome committee. Thank you, Gators. I'd like to now call to order the regular meeting for October 16th. I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, led by our Vice President.
Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to have a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll move on to item 1, adoption of the agenda.
No changes?
No changes. Agenda will be the same. Move on to item 2, good things. Anything good other than it's Boss's Day and Dr. Moore has blessed us with her presence on her birthday? Mr. Ferris.
Yeah, if I could, and this has got a little bit of a story behind it, so bear with me. But I think for me it was just one of those very touching moments, and I want to share it with you. So last week I was doing some work out in my yard that was damaged from the flood, and I happened to be able to have the opportunity to work with my 15-month-old grandson in this work. And I was relocating a stack of lumber about 20 or 30 feet from where it was, around a corner, and he was there with me. As I picked up the first piece and walked the 20 feet around the corner, put it away, he followed me. And then when I started to go back for the next piece, he ran ahead of me, walked in front of me, stooped, and pointed at the next piece of wood. So I picked up the next piece of wood and started to walk back to the place where I was placing the pile. He ran in front of me, walked over and pointed to where I should put the next piece of wood, and did this for the entire pile of wood. What a fabulous opportunity, and it reminded me in life, often it's not about specifically the job you do and how quickly you get it done, but that along the way you take the time to make sure you appreciate the finer points, and what a wonderful opportunity. So I just had to share it with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further? Dr. Moore?
Yes, you and I had the chance to visit Pierce Academy of the Arts earlier today, and I was so amazed by the art club at recess with a classroom full of engaged students choosing, instead of outside play at recess, to do their art passion projects, including, there was one game in Roblox where a whole table were animating their characters and designing, and each table was able to speak to what they were choosing to do during this time, and it really warmed my heart to see the engaged students. Not all of them are 4.0 type students, but all students across the school being engaged and having a fantastic time at school. That was a great thing today.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. We'll move on to item 3, approval of minutes of the special meeting of September 9th and the regular and special meetings of September 18th, 2025. Any changes? These minutes will stand. Move on to item 4, programs and presentations. 4.1, attendance. And Dr. Samko.
Good evening, President Scott, members of the board,
Superintendent Dr. Moore, staff and community. This is a presentation on our attendance trends from last year and then what we're noting this year. A very important term to know, because it's measured on our California School Dashboard, is chronic absenteeism. So a student who is a chronic absentee is a student who has missed 10% or more of the school days in a year. So given 180 school days, if a student in the 24-25 school year missed 18 or more days, they'd be chronically absent. So far, we've had about 42 school days as of October 8th. So about 17% of our students at this time are designated as chronically absent. Tracking this data allows us to provide interventions, such as some independent study contracts, to help recoup those days. So here are attendance data trends over the last 3 years. So the first cell or row is all students, TK through 12. So you see about the same attendance average there. TK through 3 remained at about 93%, give or take. Same for 4th through 6th. 7th and 8th saw a reduction in their attendance rate, and then 9 through 12 also saw a slight reduction. So again, tracking the data this way by our grade spans allows us to have a clear starting point to investigate and then target interventions. We use a company called School Status, and they provide a lot of services and they help us kind of analyze our data. And so this graph simply depicts what is considered excellent over the last 3 years. You don't see a whole lot of change there, give or take 1%. So excellent attendance is students didn't miss more than 1.8 days. Satisfactory is missing about up to 5%. Manageable attendance is up to about 10%, and then chronic, of course, would be 10% or more. What to note here is we do have that chronic absenteeism creeping up a bit in the year 24-25. This is a fascinating depiction of our attendance trends in the district in 24-25. It's called a stoplight. So anytime you see a cell that's yellow, that would be average absences for Sierra Sands, which is a total 473, which is a little gobsmacking to me if you have about nearly 5,000 students, right? Well below average is good in this case because it's under 424 students out, so that's a green day, if you will. And then red depicts student absences at or above 522. So let's just pause and let's model reading a graph and making some inferences, shall we? Thank you. How am I doing, math teachers? Okay, friends, let's look at Fridays. What do you notice about Fridays in our district?
Seems like almost every Flex Friday, there's a lot of red.
Right.
Yes.
So
And any Friday, yeah.
Mr. Scott noticed, so you see asterisks, those are the Flex Fridays, but what's interesting is, according to my analysis of the graph, there were 47 well above average days, and so 32 of those days were Fridays. That's significant, right? We had about 80 average days, and the good news is we did have 53 well below average days. I want you to take a look at the month of May. We do a big push for attendance in May because that's when we conduct our state testing. So some interesting ways of looking at the data. And we hope to share this with our LCAP advisory and other parent and student groups so we can really get some feedback on to why that. We don't want to make assumptions. We want to understand why we're seeing these trends. Would anybody else like to share their observations?
Yeah, there's no red in June and July.
Oh, I love that response, and that is accurate. Thank you. All right. Okay, so in 24-25, this is a great way to look at this type of data, because what does it really mean? So we know that if students are not in school, they're missing their instruction. But this really emphasizes, like, if you assume that there are 1,038 hours in a school year, assuming 6 hours a day for 180 days, and you have a non-chronic student, on average in elementary, they're missing about 46 hours of instruction for a non-chronic student. When you move to a chronic student, that's nearly 180 hours of instruction. That's significant. In junior high, a non-chronic student on average is missing about 53 hours of instruction, and 4 times that amount for a chronic student. For high school, the average non-chronic student hours missed is about 50 hours. And when we get to our chronic student, that's 235 hours. So you can see, we often speak to our parents at, they're called school attendance review teams, SARTs. And when we present the data this way to our parents, that really is a light bulb moment to the potential impact on the loss of learning for our students. All right, our California School Dashboard tracks our student groups by ethnicity and by condition. And so we want to look at our attendance by our groups. So you can see what our absence rates were, our attendance rates were in 24-25 and how they are as of October 8th. So tracking this data also helps us target students to receive those interventions and to hopefully recoup some of those missed days. And then we also track our attendance on the dashboard by our student groups, our unduplicated pupils, right? So English learners, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and foster youth. And you can see how our chronic absenteeism is between our groups there. So we want to target any disparities between our student groups. So our strategies for chronic absenteeism are, of course, regular data collection and analysis, providing specific interventions and supports. We really want to build those connections to school through capturing kids' heart strategies and making our students feel welcome and part of our tribe. We want to have an increased focus on our short-term study contracts to recoup that learning and attendance. We want to ensure communication and parent involvement. We do want to determine what impact our programs are having and then adjust those strategies as needed. And of course, we're going to use our systems in place, as I mentioned, the School Attendance Review Team, and then at a district level, it's called SARB, School Attendance Review Board. Do you have any questions or reflections on our attendance trends?
My first question would be on the study contracts, the short term. Are they pretty successful getting them back? And when the student gets a study contract, when they know they're going to be gone?
I would say yes, for the most part. We piloted an intensive program at Fowler and Las Flores last year. And when the parents are contacted immediately, right, the day of, they do tend to it's an alert to the family, like, oh, we all share this priority. And so there is more, because of the immediate communication, I would say yes.
And in addition, the pilot and then what we've now gone district-wide with is a streamlined approach. So it's different than what we used to do in prior years. It's a lot more teacher-friendly, family-friendly. It's just easier to initiate and provide to the family in a faster timeline. For example, in secondary, we're able to use the Canvas learning management system and leverage a lot of what we've already done rather than doing a lot of new or additional work for our staff. And that has been helpful, but we, in our pilot, were able to recover hundreds of days of learning missed by students who are being absent, and so we're looking forward to replicating that.
I'm just wondering, I don't know if this thing's working, but I'm just wondering if the parents really realize what that does when they have that study contract done and how it does help us with our issues with getting credit for that day and students getting, we're getting paid for them to fill that out. And I'm not sure if they all know that. You think they know that?
I think that's a factor, but our connection with our parents and students is, of course, to recover that learning and
Right.
to reduce learning gaps, and that is definitely an aspect of it that is communicated. But again, the connection is really recouping that learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. First?
I guess I just wanted to take a second to acknowledge, the board worked specifically to develop our objectives. And if you look at the head objective there is engage students, and we're not gonna have engaged students if they aren't there, right? And your presentation has shown how we're working on engaging staff and engaging community to support that engaged students. So it's right on target with what we've asked for, and I think we appreciate that correlation. Thank you.
And we in turn appreciate the clarity and this opportunity to put all of our focus on our priorities together.
I just have one quick, do we have data from the first 2 months of this year yet that's, just a snapshot of, or any of the things we've done over the last year helping this first 2 months of this year?
I would say that model where it's like an immediate phone call, right, from our office staff to our parents, and that becoming normal in terms of, hey, we have this streamlined opportunity. So I would say, yes, it's having a positive impact because our trends were more significantly in the chronic absenteeism percentage. So we can come back to the board, maybe do like a mid-year report instead of end of year.
That'd be kinda nice, cause it's just,
And we could
cut
look at
and
month
check
by
where we're
month.
at, if the program's actually working or not.
Yeah, and in my board report, I
Okay.
will provide that.
Thank you.
And Dr. Stapko, I truly appreciate those slides, especially the calendar with the red, green, and yellow, because, it slaps you in the face.
Right.
And you look at that, you can see, and then with all the absentee, with the hours on there, the correlation, we all understand, the work week and the work month and the work year, so we realize the year, or the amount of hours and missing. And so if we can get that information out in those two slides somehow, so people can see that, or all of our parents.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes, no, it's,
Well, and also, I think we just gotta figure out a way to get kids in school on Fridays.
Yes.
That's huge. That thing just shot right out. I understand Flex Fridays, sometimes that's the only day they get to go or whatever, but it was like all Fridays, it seemed like to me on most of the.
It was,
most of them,
except for
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Unless our Wednesday school were there. It's kinda telling too, so, what does that mean?
no, and it's easy to see the pattern. And
Right.
as employees, as supervisor, I did that with my employees. I kept a calendar, and it was easy to see. You had your typical Monday or Friday. But when you have it presented to you, look, there's obviously a pattern here. And obviously 2 days before the Thanksgiving holiday looked like that was big. People taking off a little bit early, getting the jump on traffic, understand. But every day matters, and all those hours that child is missing, so they're missing out.
I'm pretty sure it's a virus.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Dr. Stapko. Are you staying for the next one?
I sure am.
Item 4.2, cell phone policy implementation.
I know you've heard me say this before, and I am a little bit of a nerd, and that's okay. I'm in the right role for that, right attribute. But this is such an exciting presentation to give to you, and I'm honored to share such good news. This is really, truly a good thing. Here we go. So as you know, our board updated our policy on mobile communication devices and set some direction, but what also was interesting about our policy, it gave our site some autonomy to do what was a best fit for our students and parents. And of course, we received a lot of parent feedback and student feedback, staff feedback as to what may work best for our community. And that would be community and staff and student engagement. All right, so what has the implementation looked like? In our schools, we do have Faraday pouches that we've purchased, and I'd like to pass that around. You've seen this, I think, at a certain board session. And so this pouch is interesting because it blocks the signal. So once the phone is in that pouch, signal is blocked. However, students could access those devices in a case of emergency. And we have other implementation as well, but that's been a significant benefit. So what does it look like in elementary? Cell phones are not allowed on campus. However, students with phones, because we are in the year 2025, right? With phones, drop those phones off in the office. In junior high, phones are placed in unlocked Faraday pouches, and students who then do not comply received a locked Faraday pouch. So it's a tiered approach, right? It's working for probably 85% of the population, but that's pretty typical for junior high behavior. And in high school, if phones are visible, students are asked to turn their phones in to the, or at the office, and students pick up their phones at the end of the day. And if there are continued infractions, then it's gonna result in a parent pickup. But I can say, as we've been doing our walkthroughs on the campuses, and some of you have joined those walkthroughs, we're seeing a lot less phone device use and a lot more engagement in the classroom instruction, so that's huge. Well, as you know, really changing this behavior is a gateway to other positive changes. And so there's a really interesting article from Education Week talking about what schools look like without cell phone distraction. And what you see in this article is mirrored very much in our implementation here in Sierra Sands. So what has the impact been? Well, positive change. We have fewer distractions to learning. We have increased student engagement, increase in positive student interactions. It's really a phenomenon that students are talking to each other in real time. And then, wait for it, because of that real life interaction with other humans, there's decreased student conflict. Staff reports a lot more success when they set clear expectations and there are routines and procedures for the implementation. And parents have been on board and have helped reinforce expectations at multiple sites.
I have a question on that. Talk about staff reporting success when they set clear expectations and routines and procedures. Has there been opportunity for teachers to share their successes with others? I know sometimes in a change like this, there are folks who have found it worked very well and other folks who didn't know how to, and maybe that sharing might, hey, yeah, you need to try this because it really works. Is that part of what's going on?
I would say yes, like at staff meetings or the PLCs on Late Start Wednesdays, we are talking about the impact. And to your point, a teacher may feel uncomfortable if they perceive there could be like a power struggle, right? But since it's district-wide and school-wide and implemented consistently, I think that barrier has been significantly reduced. But yes, I think one of the hallmarks of Sierra Sands is sharing best practices. But wait, there's more. All right, what are the principals chatting about? Look at this format. All right. Kristen Simpson, Richmond co-principal, has chatted and said students have been more focused in class and less concerned about their electronic devices. This has also allowed for an increase in social interactions on campus, in person. Parents have been supportive and helped us to reinforce the expectation around cell phones. Laura Herbert, who formatted the data this way, wanted me to assure you that none of these texts, wink, wink, were sent during the school day. See? All right. All right, so David Andreessen at China Lake Junior High says, at China Lake Junior High, we are requiring all students to place their cell phone in the pouch in their backpack during instructional time. This has made it much easier for teachers to enforce the cell phone policy. This has decreased the number of classroom disruptions caused by cell phone use. The new policy has helped to limit policy violations. Feedback from parents is mostly positive. And then Carrie Cope at our amazing Burroughs High School. Students are more engaged in their learning. When observing classes, students do not have their phones out. Student conflict is way down, and I think having the phones away is a contributing factor among other things we've implemented. The staff is very happy to be supported in requiring phones to be away during class time. Now let's take it to the street. What are staff and students talking about on their cell phones here? All right. So, from Chelsea Edgelog, a Burroughs English teacher, students lock their cell phones in a class phone home, and I don't get much pushback. It helps to have the phone next to the door so they put it right in as they walk into the room. I've noticed the most difference in writing. We just completed first quarter benchmarks, and I've received 91% of the essays. The quality of the paragraphs has significantly improved. We've all suffered from the text effect. All right, from Tatiana Edwards, China Lake Junior High teacher, they don't even ask for their phones. They know it goes in the pouch and in my cell phone basket. Definitely has distractions, less distractions in the classroom. From Christy Hardy at Buwig STEM Academy, the zero cell phone policy at Buwig has been amazing. Engagement is way higher here. And then what are the students saying? Ella from 4th grade says, I think it's nice because it reduces how many children text in class or secretly use their phone in class. It's another great way for kids not to be mad at their teacher for taking away their phone. That's some great insight, friends. All right, and then an 8th grade student, my interactions with friends are way better because how they listen to my conversations and I listen to theirs. And the staff have actual conversations with us as well, and that is amazing. And finally, a Mesquite student, students aren't as distracted and I see them talking with each other. What phenomenon do you notice in this street data here? Positive, connecting, engaged. All right. All right, street data's cool, but let's look at the hard numbers, shall we? Whoops. And I messed that up. Okay, first 10 weeks of school. Yes, these numbers are correct. There are no typos. Can you believe this? Total suspensions, the first 10 weeks of school, 2024, no, total was 234. 2025, 72. So we're down, no, that's 23-24 school year. No.
For the first 10
Weeks of school, all the way around.
10 weeks to
10 weeks, okay. So down 70%. And so these are our major infractions. So threatening physical injury or causing physical injury, that's down nearly 50%. Harassment or threats, that's down 82.7%. And then student conflict, which is non-physical, that's still down nearly 30%. Isn't that incredible? So there are lots of positive things happening at our campuses, but definitely having that clarity about cell phone usage has really helped set what our priorities are on campus, which is connection and learning and engagement. What are your thoughts?
You know, what's interesting is you see all the data that shows how it's gone way down, but there's nothing there that shows how much more time administration has to do their job without having to deal with so much discipline. And I think that right there is huge for our administration. So that's,
Well said.
yeah.
Any further questions or comments, Mr. Ferris?
So you made the tie at least 3 times in your presentation, and I appreciate it, because exactly that, it ties to the board objectives, engage students, engage staff, and engage community. Right on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stafko. We'll move on, actually, 5, we have no public hearings. Move on to item 6, report and communication. 6.1, student board members report. Jasmine's not with us, so Mr. Campbell will be reading her reports.
Okay, I don't know if this thing, it's working
Yeah,
okay?
they're
Okay,
on. They
so Jasmine is probably in the middle of building a senior float right now at the Burroughs High School homecoming week. I'm just saying. So I get to read the book, and there's a little bit of stuff here, so we're gonna get through this, so, yeah, hang on. Vieweg STEM Academy. Since the last board report, Vieweg has hosted its first family night, which was a huge success. Families enjoyed hands-on Halloween-themed STEM activities that brought learning to life in a fun and festive way. The energy was incredible. It was a great opportunity to build community, showcase our STEM focus. We've also launched our STEM Community Committee, which is already working to build meaningful connections with the many amazing STEM partners in our area. This initiative will help us expand opportunities for students and deepen real-world learning experiences. Our robotics club is off to a strong start. In their first competition, one of our teams placed 4th overall, a fantastic achievement and a testament to the students' hard work and innovation. We held our first awards assembly where we celebrate students who exemplify our Capturing Kids' Hearts character trait of the month, as well as those who earned our STEM Excellent Award. It was a joyful moment of recognition and pride. Finally, during recent professional learning, our staff engaged in deep collaborative work, thank you, around Vieweg's mission, vision, and the code of conduct. We also invited students and families to share their voices in shaping these foundational elements. It's an exciting time to be an educational partner at Vieweg STEM Academy, and we're just getting started. China Lake Junior High School. The first quarter has already come to a close and has been a busy and productive start to the school year at China Lake Junior High School. Report cards will be coming home this week, and we are proud of the progress of our students are making. Our volleyball team continues to perform very well, and the players are truly enjoying the season. We would like to extend our sincere thanks to the use of the vans. They have been a tremendous help in ensuring our athletes can travel safely and conveniently to their games. The advisory intervention program is showing impressive results with noticeable improvements in student assessment scores. Additionally, after-school tutoring continues to support students in meeting academic expectations and staying on track. We recently held our first China Lake music concert featuring performances from our band, orchestra, and choir. The event had an outstanding turnout, and the audience thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was wonderful to see our students' hard work and talent on display. Overall, the first quarter has been filled with growth, success, and strong engagement from our students and staff. We look forward to continuing the momentum as we move into the second quarter. Mesquite Continuation High School. Alt Ed, both students were provided feedback to schools through a panorama survey, and the counselors held campus-wide and small group sessions to help with social emotional wellness. The family literacy night went well up at Saracosa Community College, where families traveled around the world to visit activities and get their passports stamped. Both schools are scheduled to participate in the Air and Spaceport Expo on the 23rd and the Saracosa Community College visit on the 29th to explore future opportunities. The middle high school program, we had our first 2 graduates this week. Students are celebrating their academic achievements tomorrow, merit honor roll attendance, recognition, the coveted 30 more and out the door. Mrs. Lesher set the gold standard with her students collectively having the highest rate of closing the gap as they move forward toward graduation. High Desert School students are working through their first intervention cycle, and they will get the results this weekend if their hard work has paid off to be recognized at our next virtual event. The last ASB virtual celebration included Kahoot booklets and lots of pet sharing. We are looking forward to Minecraft servers and more at the next event. Middle College. The Middle College scheduled their first appointments to develop their 4-year plan and were visited by the tutoring department at the library to review resources. Students are doing so well. Last Friday, they earned a game day to do their collective academic success in their high school and college courses. Go Bobcats and Dragons. Burroughs High School. Burroughs is doing great as we make our way through one of the most exciting parts of the school year, fall and homecoming. Cultural Fest was September 26th, and we had a fantastic turnout with amazing performances. Club Day went well, with people signing up for clubs such as Cross Club, Heart Club, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Interact Club, and many more. Senior Sunrise and Bee Mountain Painting were amazing. Students gathered with their friends to capture their senior memories and did a great job in changing the 25 to 26 on the mountain. Volleyball continues to do well. Kylie Chilvis hit a monumental 800 kills, marking an amazing milestone in her volleyball career. Football won their first league game against Sultana. Tennis continues to improve, and cross-country had a meet October 10th and 11th. Eve Washburn, a cross-country athlete, broke a Burroughs record for a 5K with a time of 18 minutes and 44 seconds. Our drama department is working on their fall play, a collection of Shakespeare shorts, and the performances will be November 7th, 8th, 14th, and 15th at 7 p.m. in the Parker Performing Arts Center. Homecoming Dodgeball was last week, and we had an amazing turnout with 11 teams competing. One of the sophomore teams came out on top. The Military Appreciation Night football game was last Friday, and we got to honor all of the brave men and women who defend our country. The Amazing Race was Tuesday, and it was a night full of puzzles, music, and excitement. Our Powder Puff Games, hit drill, and cheer competition were yesterday with students from all grade levels participating. Players and cheerleaders have been practicing since last week and had a great time. The seniors won the Powder Puff Games, hit drill, and cheerleading competition. Man, looks like they dominated. Tonight, students are working on float building, getting ready for tomorrow's parade. Our ASB students have worked incredibly hard to give their classes a float they can be proud of, and we are very excited to see them completed. Tomorrow is our homecoming football game, parade, and coronation. Coronation is at 6 p.m. and the game is at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there. Our homecoming dance is Saturday from 8 to 11 p.m. in the Burroughs Gym. We are incredibly thankful for the hard work our cheerleaders have put into making sure students have a great time. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Robert. We'll move on to item 6.2, report from members of the board. Ms. Ferris, gonna tell if you're reaching or not.
Yes, I know I get stuck on this one thing, but I love to celebrate good stuff. So after Dr. Savko finished, I looked back on our objectives and reviewed the levers. And if you put the two presentations that she made and look at the levers that we've used to identify whether we're being successful and what kinds of things we can do differently to be successful, I think we hit every single one of them in those two presentations. Effective instruction, classroom expectations, student behavior, safety, connected, attendance, parental involvement, and continuous improvement. I believe our district is right on target to continue to improve what we offer to kids, and that's a good thing. So,
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. Mayor?
I'd just like to, just thank the effort that we put in with the cell phones, because I believe that was one of the issues that teachers had in the classroom. And I'm glad it's going well, and I'm glad we did something about it, because cell phones could be used for, I don't keep turning off, cell phones could be used for good or not so good. And so now we know that they're good for good. So I'm glad it's going well, that we implemented it.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank the Gateway Gators for coming out tonight and participating. It's always enjoyable, and what's great about it is just to be able to see the kids and get to meet the kids and so forth. So thank you, Gateway Gators, for your presence. And I have to agree, you know, when you look at cell phones, we all know the problem, and it's just a matter of taking the time we had to figure out what we were gonna do, and it's pretty much happening. So that's an awesome thing. So, yeah.
Mr. Johnson?
I was just saying, it's about time.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years, so I'm glad we finally did something as a board, because if not, it just perpetuated the issues we have. Because your phone, you can't get away. You go home at night, it's, all the poison having today is still there when you get home at night. So I'm glad we're at least taking care of the 6 hours they're at school, so they can have some peace.
True. I went to the Ridgecrest Chamber luncheon with Dr. Moore. Watched her presentation on the school district, was nice. And it was kind of funny because some of the information in her presentation was talking about the Pierce Academy of Arts, and got to go to the Pierce Academy of Arts today. And even though you hear it, and she touched on it earlier, to see those kids engaged in art instead of being out at recess was absolutely amazing. It was a full classroom. It was almost 30 students in there, and to see all the different artwork, you know, the Van Gogh and, you know, the drawings that they did and paintings, are just amazing. I've got no artistic ability, so, you know, when you see these young kids doing stuff like that, to me, it just amazes me. So, great job. Appreciate that. So, we'll move on to item 6.3, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, President Scott. And Mr. Johnson, I think this might address one of the questions earlier. Our month one enrollment was 4,937, which is only down 29 students from this time last year. And our attendance, which is a high focus, as we also heard, is up over 1%. So we're at 93.5 for that month overall, which last year was 92.2. So it's a great start to the year. And I know that's everybody in this room and out back at home making that happen. But we're really thrilled to see the results of all that. Since the last board meeting, we received word that we've been selected as a district to receive the Golden Bell Award for our student-centered coaching program. And this is validation of the great work being led by Dr. Savko and the Education Services team, with special thanks to our dedicated teachers on special assignment who provide the coaching support at all of our schools. We look forward to accepting the award December 3rd at the CSBA conference in Sacramento. This week is School Administrator Appreciation Week, and it's an opportunity to recognize the great leadership and dedicated team we have working long hours to ensure our schools and offices are ready to welcome students, staff, and families each day. So thank you, team, many of whom are here tonight as part of their long hours, so we appreciate them. We have already begun recruiting teachers for next school year, as we are currently employing people on emergency credentials and long-term substitutes in a number of classrooms, and we continue to close that gap. That is our goal, to have highly qualified staff in every classroom, and we are making progress on that. While the federal government shutdown continues, we're watching carefully and in regular communication with our federal elected officials. We have strong relationships with them and feel confident that our concerns and interests are being addressed, or at least on the radar. As education is forward-funded program, the funding is available and already allocated, but of larger concern is the staff who administer these programs, many of whom have been notified that they are being terminated. And this includes the bulk of the staff of the Impact Aid Office, which is a very small, efficient team that distributes funding directly to school districts. We receive about $2 million a year through that office. And while the funding is still allocated and there for us, there is considerable concern from the organizations we're a part of, NAFIS, FLISA, and MESA, those partner organizations, concerned that any change in staff may result in delays in that funding for us. The funding formula and how it's distributed is quite complex. Our staff can attest to that, with all the papers and the surveys we receive from the families who participate and then turn it in, and then there's formulas that result in that allocation coming to us. And so that is something that is of concern that we're watching and in communication with as well. As we move forward, I'm looking forward to engaging our community and representing our district at the Desert Empire Fair. This weekend, we have a table once again, and we look forward to sharing employment opportunities, education opportunities across the district, and I hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. We will move on to item 6.4, report to the Board of Trustees by the Desert Area Teachers Association. Eileen? I heard you found us a music teacher.
Yes,
Good job.
yes, it was all me. Let's see, President Scott, Superintendent Dr. Moore, board members, right, President? Scott, oh, yeah, I should know this. Michael Scott, Bill Ferris.
I'm the younger one.
Yeah. And all y'all out there, colleagues, community members. Just to be clear, I'm very tired. And I'm only bringing this up because you read about it. The play, which I might be part of, at Burroughs, we actually have one matinee, so it's at 7 p.m., but the last Saturday is at 2 for anybody who wants to go. But you'll hear more about that before it opens. Okay, so this year I got to be involved in the recruiting in the Philippines, and what I found really, really cool on kind of a personal level, but bigger than that, is one of the people who's involved in the whole company was noted that the association president was included, and she said it was the first time she had ever heard that. And she had been a teacher and association president up in San Francisco, and said, I can't believe that you have that kind of good relationship with the board and the district. And that has been kind of a big thing the whole time I've been doing this, is that I think it's absolutely critical, you know, as humans and then as people who work together, that we have this. And certainly, you know, data sees a lot of things one way and interpret language one way, and you have your way. And I think that it's just such a positive that we're able to come at it from this point of civility and diplomacy, and then just a genuine respect and you know, appreciation of each other. So it was really nice to kind of have that validated from the outside, because I think that's how we get things done. So the biggest thing that I took in being involved in this is that the teachers that we recruit are so incredibly qualified. Like, that's not even a question. Qualified, experienced, and then they're really passionate about what they do, and they really care about their students. And I think that's really important, that we all understand these are high quality professionals. But nobody really understands what teaching is until you're standing there, right? You're the teacher of record and everything is on you, and it's frightening, right? That first year, I always say, if the first year you don't go home crying every night, you're doing it wrong. Not that I cried every night, but it's a lot, right? It's a lot to do. And to really understand that, you kind of have to stand there and be in it. And then our country, our culture is different from other places, right? And so it's tricky coming from one culture to another and fitting in and really understanding it. So I think, as the district has already recognized, we need to have training and support for those teachers, right? You've always known that. And I think now, and seeing it firsthand and talking a lot in my site visits to teachers here, we really want to be part of that, and we want to reach out to y'all and have some meetings so that the training and the support that they're given is the stuff that's really coming from the people who are in the classroom. And I had a really great talk with Ms. Self last week that I think was really productive. And as I was telling Dr. Moore, I'm a little bogged down with the play, but my goal is to reach out and really work so we can put something really great in place to help, and not just our national teachers, right? We need that kind of support, but we can get something really tailored for them so that we get these really awesome professionals and they're able to do what they're really, really great at. Let's see. Oh, also, I don't know if I mentioned this last month. Probably not, because y'all were just in my classroom a week or so ago. We really appreciate having you all come to our campuses. Dr. Savko was there. William Scott was there. Michael Ferris. Yeah, and it's always like a shock. You're teaching, and all of a sudden you're like, who are these people coming in, right? The kids always really sit up straighter and behave really well. But it's always a little bit, no matter how great a day we're having, it's always kind of like, oh, they're here. But I got to tell you, having visitors, having board members come and see us during the day in our classroom when we don't know, so you're just showing up and seeing the real thing, that means a lot to us, because not only are you seeing what we're good at, but if there are any issues, like we can say, oh, look, the sidewalk's really bumpy, you know, and our kids are having trouble on that, whatever it is, that you're seeing us in real time means a lot. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got more teachers showing up, right, at the board meetings, just kind of let you know what's going on in their classrooms, because we know that when we're communicating both sides, right, even when we have those disagreements, and I think the disagreements are what keep both sides strong, right, that little bit of tension. So we recognize how important that is. So I wanted to let you know, thank you for coming to our sites, and we'll be coming to your sites as well. Okay, I really hope that's it, because I ran out of room to write. Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to item 6.5, report to the Board of Trustees by the California School Employees Association. Sylvia. Good evening.
Okay, hello, school board president, board members, superintendent, Dr. Moore, staff, and community. Once again, at our monthly meeting on Tuesday, some safety concerns were brought up at China Lake, the bus loading and unloading zone. The drivers are concerned that not only for their safety, but the safety of the students. We're hoping that we can come up with a solution to protect staff and students, preferably before something bad happens. Another hot topic at our monthly meeting was our pay. We all know that I always talk about Panda. However, we have a new one on the list, and that is Ross. With Ross just opening, they have their starting pay at $22 an hour. One of our new hires, LBN hires, her daughter works there and makes more money than her. So her 22-year-old daughter, I believe she said, makes more money than she does. So they also offer benefits for full-time employees. They also offer college discounts and scholarships, a 401k plan that is matched up to 4%. We still see a huge turnover rate, and when I speak to my people why they're leaving, the number one reason is their pay. They can go to fast food and make more money, and now Ross. Our pay scale has been a huge factor in not being able to retain our classified staff, which puts more work on the staff that we do have. We definitely need work on our pay scale. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. We'll move on to item 6.6, communications from the public. The board will provide time during the discussion of each agenda item for members of the public to comment. At this time, members of the public may address the board on an item not on the agenda. Comments should relate to items of public interest within the board's jurisdiction. The law prohibits the board from taking action on items not on the agenda. If appropriate, your comments will be referred to staff for response. When addressing the board, please state your name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. In accordance with the board bylaws, the board will limit the total time for public input to 30 minutes. Those wishing to address the board beyond the 30-minute time limit may do so at the end of the scheduled meeting agenda. I'll open up public comment at 6:54.
Good evening. My name is Arwen Kite, and I am a teacher at Richmond Elementary School. I am here tonight to discuss a few items that are directly affecting the learning environment at Richmond Elementary School. First, our HVAC system. Since we received our keys on July 28th, many classrooms have struggled with systems that do not function properly. The current fix, running the air constantly, leaves me with no control over the temperature. Other classrooms at Richmond currently have access to control their rooms with certain parameters, but my room has been placed offline. And I was told that this was going to be the way it was for several weeks until they figure out a fix. This offline mode has been especially challenging for one student in my classroom who struggles to regulate her body temperature. Her para-educator and I do our best with jackets, cooling towels, and fans, but this is not sustainable. During the hottest weeks this school year, earlier in August and September, my classroom reached over 85 degrees. And on rainy days, we've had a few this year, the humidity has hit 80% inside my classroom. Because of this, water has built up on the walls on the inside of my classroom, and damage to many books, anchor charts, and even district curriculum have occurred. Despite repeated patience on our part, the issue remains unresolved. All we are asking for is a stable, climate-controlled environment essential for my students' health, learning, and safety. While our hottest days are behind us, they will return, and I am advocating tonight for my students to be protected from these again when the heat does return. Second, we need a dedicated campus supervisor at Richmond. Richmond's largest student population is a very large student population, and its expansive campus layout make effective supervision a challenge. In fact, other schools with fewer students already have a campus supervisor in place. Richmond should be no exception. Our new campus spans a significantly larger area, and the extended grounds require proper oversight. We also serve some of the most vulnerable and fragile learners, and it is our responsibility to ensure their safety. Adding this position would not only enhance our campus security, but also ensure consistent and reliable monitoring throughout the school day. I would like to end by giving a Richmond Superstar shout out to our maintenance crew who came through today and fixed some of our trees. The team that installed the trees, outside contractor, they placed very beautiful large trees that are very heavy and in very soft soil. And so the trees have been repeatedly falling over, and our maintenance crew from our district came out today to fix it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, members of the board, Dr. Moore. My name is Felicia Field. I'm a teacher at Richmond Elementary School, and I want to start off by saying we have had an incredible start to the year. We've had our first flag raising ceremony, which brought many to tears. Our family night so far have been full of joy. We too did a Halloween night just a couple nights ago with fizzy cauldrons and lots of fun math learning. My second grade class celebrated National Bubblegum Day. They got to learn how bubblegum was made. We watched a video on how to blow a bubble. A few were successful. It was a challenge for sure, but they did have fun learning how to blow a bubble. We spit it out before we left the classroom, of course. And I wanted to give a shout out to maintenance for getting our backpack hooks installed. We've been waiting so patiently for them, and not having to put our stuff on the ground is awesome. But with all these wonderful things, we do have some serious challenges when it comes to student safety at Richmond. We currently serve 532 students on a 20-acre campus, with 39% of those students being in special education, which are our most fragile learners who need consistent supervision and support. Our site has over 40 restrooms, many places for students to hide, and we deal with frequent elopements of students for various reasons. Despite the best efforts of our paras, teachers, administrators, and every staff member in between, it's simply not possible to keep all areas safely covered at our school. I often during my lunch see things happening outside my window and will go and intervene for the safety of our students. We desperately need at least one full-time campus supervisor. Our staff is working incredibly hard, but we just need more support, and I thank you for appointing Katie as our interim assistant principal, because we do need all the support we can get. But we need Richmond to be not only a place of learning and joy, but also one that's truly safe for every student. And to kind of tack onto that, we had our special ed students still on campus Tuesday at 5:10 p.m. being picked up by the final bus. That's so late. they get here late, they're here all day. Some of them have lunch at 11 a.m. and they're here past 5 o'clock, and they're our most vulnerable learners. And I know buses have been brought up, and it's a challenge, and I think it's a big challenge that we need to solve for those kiddos, because they shouldn't wait around for 2 hours after school to get picked up. Like, that breaks my heart. But thank you for taking the time to listen, and a full-time campus supervisor would be greatly appreciated to add to the wonderful things we're doing at Richmond and to continue providing a safe learning space for all our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should have printed my words and debated it. Dr. Moore, member of the board, thank you so much for listening. I'm Emily Slatkowski. I'm one of the 2 directly hired COCN speech language pathologists. I know I've come to talk to you guys a few times, but I want to reiterate my frustration with the current state of the speech pathology department within our district. First off, I want you to imagine in your brain, and I don't feel like this is a stretch for most of you, FaceTiming one of your grandchildren that's under the age of 8. How does that usually go? Probably swimmingly well. Now imagine that same FaceTime with a young child who also has a speech or language challenges, and you were trying to provide meaningful therapy to that child. That is teletherapy for most of our young students. On top of that, the district is spending between $30,000 and $100,000 more per contracted employee than you are for your directly hired SLPs. Additionally, we are continually being asked to provide support for evaluations and therapy for the virtual contractors due to limitations with teletherapy for a portion of the students we serve. These limitations can't be mitigated by hiring more paraprofessionals or speech-language pathology assistants, only by in-person speech-language pathologists, because the assistants simply are not licensed to do those jobs. The last few weeks, we've had several staffing changes within our contracted team, and one or both of our SELPA administrators have been out of office when these employees were expected to be onboarded. I was tasked on multiple occasions to provide support, answer questions, and make decisions with and for these individuals without the authority to actually do so. That is incredibly frustrating for me and for them because I can't help them in a way that's effective. I feel like you have a real chance to create meaningful opportunities for in-person directly hired SLPs to come and to stay within our district, but from what I've seen, no real effort has been made. This has to come from the top down for any meaningful changes to be made. I'm tired of being forgotten and undervalued when our position is vital to the success of our district as we serve over 600 Ridgecrest children between the ages of 3 and 21. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Moore. My name is Nadine Salas. I'm a long-term sub for a 5th and 6th special ed classroom at Richmond Elementary School. And I'm here because I believe passionately, as do all of us here in this room, in providing equitable access to education for our most vulnerable learners. Right now, that is a huge challenge, however. We don't have the fundamental supports in my classroom that any general education classroom would have. In my role, I have faced a profound lack of support with paraprofessionals. My first month being in my classroom, I had no paraprofessionals for a classroom of 14 students with mild to moderate disabilities. In my last 2 to 3 months, I might have a paraprofessional who's there for 3 or 4 consecutive days, and sometimes I have someone who's in there for 1 to 2 hours. On top of that, it's been a challenge to figure out everything on my own. I myself do not have any specialized background in special education, and so I've spent 12-hour days in my office trying to understand blending IEP goals and understanding curriculum maps and managing severe behaviors because our support systems are overstretched. And let me be clear, my support systems, whether that be in the SELPA office or within my admin, have tried their best, but they are stretched thin, and it trickles down into my classroom, into my students. I stand here not just as a teacher, but as an advocate for these students. They deserve a stable, nurturing learning environment, and I am asking for your help to make that a reality. Together, we can build the kind of systems where every child gets the support that they need, and where teachers aren't left alone to try to navigate these challenges. I'm asking for the board to consider serious ways that we can ensure consistent staffing with paraprofessionals. I know this would be another great stretch, but paraprofessionals that have specialized experience in SCC classrooms. and proper onboarding for new teachers or guidance for long-term substitutes in these very vulnerable positions. Our special education classrooms need to actually be effective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine McGarry, and I'm here to bring up the issue that just came about on AB 495, the Family Preparedness Act that was signed into law. And my interpretation of that bill is that it allows any adult with the 5th degree of relations or claims to be a relative to use a one-page form to get guardianship-like powers over someone else's minor child, including living arrangements, school enrollment, and medical and mental health decisions. No parental signatures required, no vetting, notary, fingerprinting, or background checks of the adult, no oversight or follow-up to make sure that the child is safe with the adult, no parent notification required. So what I'm here to ask is that to allow parents to be aware of how you're planning to, if you're going to implement AB 495, and or are you going to stick with the emergency contact cards that were signed by the parents? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Kean. Hello, Dr. Moore, members of the board. I'm going to follow up on good things as I'm sitting, no speech today, so just got a off the cuff. I would just like to say thank you so much for lending Ms. Benedom from the Amazing Ed Services, who's really stepped up in all the ways that Richmond has needed them. When we need support, Dr. Savko and Mrs. Decker, they are there, and it's a good day. I'm very grateful for them. They're amazing women. I am happy to be part of their tribe, and happy Bosses Day. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brandy.
Good evening. I'm coming up here to read a letter from a teacher who's unable to make it because she's got sick kids at home, and I told her I'd read it. So this is what she wrote. This is not me. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Moore and members of the, what?
You want to identify the teacher?
Oh, yeah, it was coming up. Cassandra Largent. I'm Cassandra Largent. I teach kindergarten at Richmond. I'd like to share a couple of good things I've done in my classroom and also a couple of more serious issues. First good thing in my class, we started the year doing ABC Boot Camp. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but students are introduced to a new letter every day for the first 26 days of school. They complete various activities each day. At the end of our ABC Boot Camp, we had an ABC fashion show. We made vests for students out of paper bags and the students took those home and had their parents help them design a vest with the letter they were assigned. Then we had our fashion show with lights, music, and a red carpet. They received a certificate for completing ABC Boot Camp. Parents were invited to the fashion show, and we had a really good turnout. Everyone involved had a lot of fun. It was really exciting to see the fashion show come to life as I started planning it last summer. Next good thing, my students had a fun day learning about Johnny Appleseed and about apples. They learned about the life cycle of an apple tree, parts of an apple. We made homemade applesauce in the classroom using a crock pot, and all the students got to help with it. Students got to predict if an apple would sink or float. We tested apples of different colors. As we all know, different colored apples taste differently and even have a slightly different texture. Students discovered that all apples float regardless of the type of apple. Students also got to taste test different apples, and we created a graph of which ones they liked best and talked about which apple had the most likes and which apple had the least likes. Students also got to make a Johnny Appleseed craft and an apple thumbprint craft. Then we finished the day with the STEM activity where the students used pieces of apples to build a tower and eat their applesauce. Students had a lot of fun with all the activities. On a more serious note, I'd like to address Richmond is short on paras, and if Richmond is short on paras, I can't imagine what the rest of the district looks like. I know it's difficult to find and retain classified staff. I think it's a travesty they could make more working fast food than they can working with our future leaders. If our classified staff were paid better, it'd be easier to find and retain people to fill those empty spots. They work so hard, it's unbelievable. They work just as hard as teachers, which on a side note, teachers should be paid more as well. I hear that Realms is now paying more than Sierra Sands is. They also pay substitute teachers more, and I know the district has a hard time recently with having enough subs. We can't find and retain individuals for any position if the district is not at least paying competitive rates at all levels. Thank you for your time this evening, and that was Cassandra Largent.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cheyenne Reagan. Hi, Superintendent Dr. Moore, members of the board. I am a teacher at Pierce Academy of the Arts, and I wanted to highlight all the amazing things that every single one of our teachers have been doing. We've just had amazing events, we've had really integrated lessons, and they have been working so hard. I did also want to highlight that our 2 SDC classes have 3 grade levels in them. And like, our teachers are rock stars, and they have really been putting in the work, not only managing 3 grade levels, meeting all those standards, but also integrating those lessons. And it's really hard for them. And so I just wanted to highlight that in case anyone was unaware. It's hard to do 2 grade levels as a combo class, but 3 with our most vulnerable population is absurd. So maybe we've been asking for support with that, and hopefully you guys can help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other takers, we'll go ahead and close public comment at 7:12. We'll move on to item 7, Policy Review Committee, 7.1, approval of updated board policies and administrative regulations. The district will be pulling BP 4132.
Yes, thank you, President Scott. We have a number of routine updates based on updated laws and CSBA guidance. And you can see the number there. They have gone through our Board Policy Review Committee. And after discussion with Data President Eileen Poole, we are recommending pulling Policy 4132 for additional conversation. That one was brought forward on at the interest of teachers, and so we have some more to process with that one before we recommend approval. All the rest are there for discussion, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community?
I had a specific question about the review committee meetings, because I saw this previous one was canceled. And I don't know if it was canceled or not, but that's what the packet says. And I was curious if it was discussed or if it was just.
In some cases, when they're mostly routine, the members of the committee may say to waive the meeting, and that is the case this time. So the agenda is still published online to make sure that everyone, including all 5 board members, have access to all the materials. But when they're deemed not to have questions or discussion from the board members that are assigned to the committee, a meeting may be canceled and waived to bring things straightforward here.
Okay. Thank you, and I appreciate you pulling that one for further discussion.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments?
Dr. Moore, members of the board, Kevin Birch, I work at Burroughs, I'm one of the math teachers there. I was just curious if we have any sort of documentation for the update for 132?
It has been pulled, so there is no other information, and it is pulled based on a request from Data. So there will be some conversation with Data members. Usually it's a collaborative approach where we can discuss and clarify any questions, make any refinements that need to be made. Okay. So that is yet to be scheduled.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 8, Educational Administration. 8.1, approval of memorandum of understanding between the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, School Community Partnership, and Sierra Sands Unified School District School Social Work Program. Ms. Decker, good evening. I know, I was like.
So I think that's my record. Good evening, President Scott, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Moore, staff and community. Based on Mesquite's comprehensive needs assessment and an educational partner input, it is being recommended that the site consider hiring additional staff, such as a social worker, to address the barriers preventing students from graduating. The Kern County Superintendent of Schools offers a school social work program. The overarching goal is to increase the capacity of districts to address the social and emotional needs of students and to remove barriers to learning and improve outcomes for students at risk of school failure. The role, function, student referral process, and the evaluation of the impact of the school social work program are outlined in the proposed Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU. And the financial implications are, per the MOU, the district will provide $77,500 per school year to KCSOS for participation in the school social work program, and the cost will be funded through the Mesquite High School Comprehensive Support and Improvement Allocation. It is recommended that the board approve the MOU between KCSOS, School Community Partnership, and Sierra Sands School Social Work Program as presented.
Move to recommend action.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from staff or community? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 8.2, appointment of industry business members to Career Technical Consultation Advisory. Dr. Safko.
Good evening. As you're aware, we do have a robust CTE program, and California Education Code 8070 requires the governing board to appoint a CTE advisory. And so the purpose of this board agenda item is to present to you the names of the volunteers on our advisory, and the recommendation will be for you to approve them as presented. I'm going to list the names, but not necessarily their association, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce any names, which is certain to happen. So the following business community representatives have volunteered for and are recommended for appointment to our Sierra Sands CTE Consultation Advisory: Jessica Vasquez, Suzanne Ama, Matthew Wanta, Dawn Ward, Nicole Harper, Carl Etling, Erica Beeler, Scott Hawkins, Angel Zamaron, Kat Crete, Ray Hawker, Mike Peterson, David Santiago, Scott O'Neill, Sharon Boyer, Consuelo Bain, Cynthia Swafford, Rick Kelly, Manuel Ruiz, Alexia Saveda, Eric LaBarbie, and Kirsten Webb. In addition to these committee members, the committee will consist of Sierra Sands teachers, staff, students, parents, and counselors. The financial implications are very minimal. They're considered reasonable expenses, and they'll be paid for through the Perkins funds, which are less than $200, and our 25-26 Perkins allocation is $61,392. And as I had mentioned before, it is recommended that the board appoint said individuals to the CTE advisory for this school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community?
I just want to comment that I appreciate you reading their names. This kind of service, people to step forward and do this is very well appreciated, and recognizing their names was a nice touch. Thank you.
And every time we have this, it's always nice. I mean, these are very qualified individuals in their respective fields, and to have them, you know, day in and day out continue, and I mean, there's some name changes, but for the most part, you have a core of them that continue to do this for us, and it's just always nice to see. So, any further questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Dr. Stafko. I think that was your last one, right? No? No, okay. Move on to item 9, personnel administration, 9.1, teachers teaching out of their major, minor field or area. Mr. Ald.
Good evening, President Scott, Superintendent Dr. Moore, members of the board, community, and staff. Although both of these agenda items are a part of our regular business each year, I think it's important and might be beneficial to kind of emphasize the difference between the two. I think some people misunderstand sometimes, like 9.1, teachers teaching out of their major or minor field or area. I think in some cases, people assume they're not credentialed, and that isn't true. We have teachers who have taught in our district before. I can think of one, specifically a very effective English teacher for about 30 years at Burroughs High School. She was credentialed to teach PE, and she was able to teach English based on having sufficient numbers of credits in the field, and because of this waiver. So I just wanted to draw attention to that. I'll make comments on 9.2 when we get to it. So the background information, education code requires the board to adopt resolutions, in this case, in order for the district to assign teachers in areas or subjects other than their credentialed field or area. There are a total of 31 teachers within the district who have been assigned to teach in other areas than their credentialed field or area. They have, however, completed the required coursework to enable them to teach the designated subjects or grade levels in accordance with education code. The resolutions simply serve as a vehicle to allow the district greater flexibility in teacher assignments while still being in compliance with the credentialing laws. And of interest this year is that with our reorganization, there was some flexibility to be able to have teachers that were at the middle schools, some of which held a multiple subject credential and some a single subject, choose which school they wanted to apply for, which grade level. And in some cases, they're represented in these resolutions, not because they aren't qualified, it's just that their credential is in a different area. There are no financial implications, and it's recommended the board adopt resolutions 13, 14, 15, and 16 as presented.
Move recommended action.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 9.2, waiver request enabling the district to assign individuals in certificated positions without appropriate credentials. Mr. Old.
Yeah, so 9.2 is our legal way of being able to place teachers who are not yet fully credentialed in a classroom. Approval of the governing board is required when a district is filing for a variable term waiver, a provisional internship permit, or a short-term staff permit in order to assign an individual who is not appropriately credentialed for his or her assignment. Approval is requested for the district to submit requests to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing for these various waivers. There you can see in the board packet specifically which staff member we need this for. There are no financial implications, and the recommendation is to approve the submission of the request for the variable term waiver, PIPs, and STIPs in order that the above-named individuals may be assigned in the designated position for the 25-26 school year.
Move recommended action.
We have a motion and 2 seconds. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community? Please come up to the, ma'am, would you come up here so they can hear you in TV land?
But I'm assuming what you're saying is that they're working toward their credentialing for it, but they haven't quite received it yet?
Yes, in many cases, they're working towards a credential.
Okay, but if they're not, does that affect the students in any way if they are teaching outside of an area that they're not familiar with?
They have to, so the Commission on Teacher Credentialing has requirements where you can only teach certain subjects based on your content of study.
Right.
And focus. And in these cases, they're all required to get into a credentialing program in order to be able to teach subsequent years. Many of them are very close and will finish within the year.
That's what I was wondering, because that's what I read, that I wanted to make sure that it was something that they are working toward, but they're not quite there yet before. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 10, general administration, 10.1, gifts to the district. Mr. Campbell.
Okay, the following gifts were received. Robert Campbell, and I better say my wife's name, Janet Campbell, donated tricycles to the Buick STEM Academy's TK kindergartners class with a cash value of $1,120. United Methodist Church of Ridgecrest donated school supplies with a cash value of $500 to various school sites. Micah McWhorter donated a Epson printer with a cash value of $200 to the Los Flores Elementary third grade teachers. Donations provide support to the district have a positive financial impact. It is recommended that the board accept the gift as described and send an appropriate letter of appreciation.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community? Robert, thank you. And your wife, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 10.2, authorization for board member travel to the annual school trustee fall dinner meeting of the Kern School Board Association.
Thank you.
Dr. Moore?
As you know, we have 2 dinners for the Kern County School Boards Association each year. The fall dinner is coming up, and we have 2 board members that have indicated interest and availability in attending. Our board policy and protocol does require authorization of this expenditure, and so it is provided here as a recommended action. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community? Mr. Ferris?
I just move we approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm-
we have a motion.
Yeah.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now, any questions or comments from board, staff, or community? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Move on to item 10.3, discussion and possible action for board and superintendent to participate in the Masters in Governments 4 and 5 training. Dr. Moore?
Yes, thank you. Last year, a number of school board members and myself participated in the first 3 courses, which was more locally located in Riverside County. This year, the options to finish that sequence, which is a 5-course sequence, are not so close. So we put all the options there for you. I think you may have it in front of you. But in person, they are available in San Jose or Chico, or there are a number of virtual options. And so a couple of board members have indicated an interest in completing that sequence, and this is a discussion item that if we have a readiness for, could take action on as well, as there is a cost involved. Depending on the in-person or virtual, the cost would change, but you have that outlined as well. So open it up for discussion and any questions you may have.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Ferris. You gonna talk?
You go ahead first.
I was just going to say that virtual seems a lot better than San Jose or Chico. It's just my point of view, so.
And you're the one that needs to finish, right? You and Mary?
Yeah, I have two
Okay.
left.
Everybody else has been through it before, so I think it's great to get it finished, so whatever's best for you two.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's important to get those final 2 sessions and finish it on up.
And if we did the virtual, we were planning to offer to host it at the district office, so at least we, whoever the we is that wanted to participate, could be a part of that in one location. It is different than networking with everyone else, but at least there could be some collaboration.
So you're saying that we would offer to host it locally, and then you would, so I didn't look at with that lens in mind, what the cost would still vary per person, is that right?
Yes, I believe we would still be required
Yeah.
to pay that way, but we would just log in once on the larger screen.
Sure. So I wasn't aware of that particular element, we discussed as a board before the importance of masters in governance, and I still support that. I do think it's a particularly bigger challenge with the distance of travel. I also think that we had talked before about doing it as a board together because there's specific value in that, everybody getting the same information at the same time and an update and the networking that does happen. While I still believe in all those elements, I do think that by virtue of the fact we've had some opportunities to work together on our board relationships and the way we worked on our objectives and so forth, I'm not so concerned about us all necessarily doing it together. Especially, I had tossed out in my mind the idea of us all going together to do it in person, although that I think the in-person with other board members is the most powerful because of the networking that happens. I don't think in this case it makes sense. However, I am intrigued with the idea of if the district were to host it, making it available to those of us who have been through it before, but it's been a few years, and again, an update, and I think it would be a financially reasonable way to do it. So I think remote with the invitation of anybody that wants to participate would be a healthy process, and I would support that for sure.
Do we have a motion?
And just to clarify, we can
Clarification, or do
we
need
can
to-
confirm the dates later. What we need is a motion to approve the expenditure. And so I could forward, we could do a survey and check the dates and see what works. But if there's an interest in that, that might be the motion is to.
So the motion I would make is to authorize up to full participation of the board at remote sessions, and the details to be worked later.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the board, staff, or community?
So the additional cost is it's $450 per member per course if we all 5 go instead of.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think we got lucky before having the MIG in Bakersfield, and I don't think we'll ever see that again, to be able to have the entire group be there in person. Like I said, I think it was just a.
And we all had not done it before, so we all did it at the same time. So that was rather unique, but very powerful, I think.
Yep.
So.
Do you have a question or a comment?
Always both. Is the cost of that per person that like needs to do the training for the first time, is it, or if everybody takes it, everybody has to pay for it?
The cost would be the same
Oh, no, it would be for each person.
for each person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if only Robert and Dr. Moore and Mary need to take it for the first time theoretically, and you three have already taken it, if you three take it again, it would be a duplicate cost for the three of you.
Correct.
Cool. I'm like pro professional development. I think, at least from a like perception standpoint, when the district has been really cracking down on what they will and won't pay for in terms of professional development for their staff, because of cost, maybe being mindful in terms of what you're willing to pay for yourselves for professional development for trainings you've already taken might be worth considering.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Move on to item 11, construction administration, 11.1. Mr. Moore, report to the board, construction activities and issues.
I think it's the Pierce Drum Corps, right?
Why specifically skunks? President Scott, Superintendent Dr. Moore, members of the board, faculty, and members of the community. Here are some construction updates. We'll start with China Lake. China Lake Junior High is just about at capacity, so we're installing 3 modular buildings that will provide additional classroom spaces, a staff workspace, and bathrooms. Before planting additional classrooms at China Lake Junior High, we have to dig down very deep so we can excavate to a level that can safely plant foundations and footings. Uncovering water pipes, gas pipes safely while moving tons of dirt gets things moving quickly. Anecdotally, the Anaheim School District is doing a job very similar to ours, and they discovered mastodon bones in their dig. Mastodon bones. I learned this 2 weekends ago at CASH, the California Coalition for Adequate School Housing, and the proctor said, that's a great way to stop a job site. Does anybody else have a way to stop a job site? And I raised my hand and I said, yes, uncovering asbestos piping on your job site like my job did. And so we had a great discussion about how to stop a job site. The difference between those two sites are they're going to be closed for a while they look for more bones. I was able to hire hazmat mitigation. They bagged and tagged it, made it non-friable and got it out of there. They're on speed dial in case we uncover any more. Somebody's going to ask, why is this so close to the school and why is there asbestos? That's because this is still placed on old military housing area, and we dig down deep when we're going to plant new classrooms. This was never dug down this deep in this area. It is very close to where the students are, and as soon as those were discovered, work stopped entirely. And as I said, it was sealed and mitigated immediately. Not as cool as a mastodon, but we're back on track, and they're not neener. Richmond Elementary, there have been a couple things that we've gotten so many calls while we were constructing these big Olympic pool-sized holes. Why are you digging these holes, these sumps? Well, last month, actually at the time of this meeting, it was bucketing down, and the system worked the way it was supposed to, not as fast as we wanted. There was water everywhere, but these pools filled up the way they were supposed to. There are some other things that I can say about Richmond Elementary. For example, in my notes, I do have comment about the HVAC system. We were able to work around a difficult situation with a contracting company and backfilling some of the things that were not completed properly. Working directly, in fact, with a manufacturer who, as was mentioned earlier, we do have a solution that's still a few weeks away. The manufacturer has said that we've troubleshot it down to our system communicating with our system. And they're fighting with their execs to say, can we mitigate the entire cost for the school district? Or do they have to take some of it? Because they've used this system elsewhere. It just wasn't working for ours. And so that's what we're working on. The remote communication system is how we control the climate. And we can open and shut, and we can turn on and turn off, and we can adjust the thermostats appropriately. However, that communication is what's failing. And so when there's excessive humidity, excessive cold outside, it's going to get colder. No, we've got a range, as was mentioned earlier. I'll troubleshoot what was mentioned about the humidity. However, the temperature is in a set, preset range that's safe for the children. However, it's not finished yet. And so we're finishing that out. Also, the Pierce 2 project is moving forward behind the scenes with all the preliminary work that has to take place before we can do anything right. We're doing it right. We're coordinating with Ewing to get some of the painting done the right way. And the worst of the heat is past, thankfully. I won't mention the W word, but I know that the fair's coming up, and those usually arrive in Ridgecrest at the same time. But like anything else, we're addressing the issues as they come up. And as a district, the construction department is doing its job. Thank you, President Scott, Superintendent Dr. Moore, and board. I'm open for any questions as best I can.
I have a question. So as the pools fill, I'm assuming that water's coming, it's probably bringing more sediment and stuff in. Do we, once that dries on out, do we clear that extra sediment, extra mud and stuff that came in to keep them at full capacity in the future? Or?
Great question. Theoretically, it's possible to completely overfill them if we had enough rain here. There's not an outlet from the sumps to someplace else. We have, forgive me, I forget the description. We have desert foliage that pulls up on that. And so it literally, they're under the water, there are plants there too. And so as it dries out, evaporates, as it sinks into the soil, these plants also use up the water, and that's what it's there for. That's the design of a sump.
Any further questions or comments?
I just have one. Back to Mrs. Kite's question on Richmond. During that time, do we put in temporary AC units or anything to alleviate the heat in those classrooms or get rid of humidity? And that's a simple Home Depot, plug it in, let it run, drop the temperature, drop the humidity, because it seems like
Two different things.
it's been going on for months,
Yeah, well, it has been going on for months.
which is
When-
unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
I mean, it
I-
truly is.
Two different questions. The temperature and the humidity are two different factors.
But
Yes.
AC will do both.
Working AC will do both.
Yes,
Mhm.
it will. So, okay, I just want to just get my public disappointment of having kids in a classroom for months and not being taken care of. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Moore. Move on, we have no business administration. We'll move on to item 13. We'll temporarily adjourn to conduct the In Your Current Schools Financing Authority Board of Directors meeting. April, do you have it? No, I got it. I'm sorry. I got it.
Yeah, no changes to the agenda, and it's just the minutes.
Okay, yeah, so item number 1, adoption agenda, no changes. Item number 2, approval of minutes of the regular meeting of September 18th, 2025. Any changes? These minutes will stand. We'll adjourn the Indian Current Schools Financing Authority, move back into the regular meeting. Move on to item 14, the consent calendar.
Move the entire consent calendar. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Item 15, future agenda. Any future agenda items? Hearing none, move on to item 16, launch. And since Dolly Parton has been in the news recently, I'll go with one of her quotes here. If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving another one, Dolly Parton, and hope her health improves. We are not going to adjourn because we have to go back into closed session. We will not be taking any formal action in closed session. When we finish closed session, we'll come back and adjourn the meeting.
Thanks for being here.